All right. Well, happy Saturday, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've got some exciting stuff to share with you today and some very important announcements. If you have not already seen, we had several updates to the app this week. And if you haven't already logged in and looked inside of the app, for everybody that's an influencer, you will now have access to your back office reporting and stats, and you're going to start getting alerts and notifications of people joining your organization, of people hitting rank. So all of those reports are starting to funnel into the app now, so you'll be able to do everything eventually all in one place. So the tech team has been working fast and furious over the last couple of weeks. Not only are they building all of the travel tech, but they're also working on all of our marketing functionality, all of the funnels that we've been building. We've got all these contact managers that are going to be coming live over the next few weeks. And we talked about some of the tech updates on the corporate call last Sunday, so I'm not going to get into all of that now, but I will have some additional updates tomorrow on that call. We will highlight some of the things that went live this week and talk about some of the things that are going to be coming live over the next couple of weeks. And then even going to talk a little bit about some things that are going to be going live over the next couple of months and some of our tech roadmap as far as the software and the technology. But just know that the team is literally working around the clock to bring all of these enhancements, all of these new features. But those new influencer features went live just in the last few days. So even during the holiday week, they were busy working for all of us to make the app and make the experience the absolute best possible. We also have now had 2 of our founder calls on Sunday nights. Those are happening at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Those are not being recorded. We had tons of people on the first week and even more last week for the second call. And so those will not be recorded. You've got to be on there to get all of that information and get it to your teams and make sure that everybody gets on those calls. That's where we're going to be doing tech roadmaps, company announcements, recognition, special announcements that the company's making. So we're going to use those Sunday night calls as really kind of the state of the union of what's going on with Bryte Lyfe and where things are headed. So you definitely want to make sure that that is locked in your calendar every Sunday night, and you go to brytelifenews.com for that. And then, of course, everybody has seen that this last week we did the Zooms at the new time, 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern, same bat channel, same bat time now going forward, zoomviproom.com. And those Zooms have gotten bigger and bigger and bigger. Over the last week, we've had the biggest Zooms that we've had. That's the place where people that are getting activity, getting results, getting signups, converting, it's happening from those live Zooms. Of course, we have teams now that are starting to do live events in their local markets. That is absolutely the best conversion. But I think the second best conversion is the live Zooms themselves. I understand we have them recorded. I also recorded this last week's Zoom with the new compensation plan slides that I'll be doing tomorrow night. That one has been recorded. And it's 24 minutes. So it was a little bit longer, but it has more compensation plan in it. And so don't know where we're going to post that permanently, but it is in the YouTube channel. So it is the last video currently until this training gets posted. If you go to the YouTube channel, you can see the new presentation that had the new comp plan slides in it. And we've had tremendous conversion over the last week. We've had our biggest sales week we've ever had. Everything is going great right now. And I think it's a testament to a lot of the new leaders that have joined the company and people that are coming in and making suggestions and offering improvements and offering to help. And then also, of course, promoting all of these calls. We've had, like I said, the biggest Zooms we've had. And that new presentation has come from a lot of feedback from people that have gotten involved, that have built massive organizations, earned millions of dollars in the industry. And so that presentation is recorded. It is on the YouTube channel. It is currently the last video that has been uploaded to the YouTube channel. So it's 24 minutes. It was the presentation that I did on Wednesday night, I believe, is the one that we recorded. And so you can go and watch that, see the new comp plan slides, and you will be seeing that going forward tomorrow night. So the presentations may be slightly longer than they've been over the last month or so, but I'm going to keep them under 20 minutes. So you will start to see that over the next presentations, the new slides that are including the comp plan slides. Also, just to announce, there are actually, I think now only 2 rooms left for Tulum. So we do have a couple of rooms left. And so the sign up is still on the app. And so if you have not registered for Tulum and you want to, shoot me a message afterwards if you have any questions. We do still have 2 rooms left. And so, you know, this is a great opportunity, in my opinion, to invite somebody. I mean, somebody could take both of those rooms, invite a friend, a family member, a coworker, somebody that you think could blow up your business. I'm telling you, if you get them on this Tulum trip, they are going to be locked in for life. This trip's going to be incredible. Corey has some amazing activities planned for us. We've got a half day of personal development. We've got the welcome party. It's going to be a blast. It's going to be great for social media. And so if you have not registered, or you have a guest that is not registered, you remember you can get an additional room as a member to bring a guest. And to me, this is what better way to get somebody sold on Bryte Lyfe, get them involved in your business. If you have somebody that you think could literally change your business, change your life, if they got involved in your organization, I would do whatever it takes to try to get that person in front of this information and get them on the Tulum trip. I mean, even if you have to do something with them, do some kind of a contest or do some kind of a promotion to get them involved, get them signed up, get them on the Tulum trip. You know, if they come in and put in, get 10 to win or something like that, pay for their trip. I mean, there's so many things you can do. Remember, you can use your travel dollars for this. You can take those out of your account. They show up right in the checkout screen like they will for future travel bookings through the app. But we're controlling this booking. Our partners and our vendors control the travel bookings that come in through the app, like we've discussed. And so that piece of technology is almost finished. It'll probably go live in the next week to 2 weeks. I'll be talking about it tomorrow night on the call. So wanted to go through those very quick, important announcements that are very important that you get to your team so that we're all on the same page. And today, we're going to start a series of trainings that will take place over the next 3 weeks. And I'm going to be covering the 3 core competencies of this business. And so this is one of my favorite things to train on, because I feel like if you can master these 3 tools, then you can have a massive business. You can grow a massive organization. And I think a lot of times people don't realize that this business really is simple, and that's one of the reasons why when I wrote my book, I called it Net Easy Marketing. If you can follow these core competencies and get good at these core competencies, then your business is going to explode. And the thing is this is what I love, that the business has no discrimination. The business has, it is not racist. You can be anybody from any place, any part of the world, male, female, any color, any nationality, any religion. It does not matter, because if you get good at these 3 things, you could literally be a 6-figure, not just annual earner, but you could be a 6-figure monthly earner in this business if you just master these 3 things. And so over the course of the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be covering each one of these components and dedicating an entire training to just that one component. So today we're going to start with the most important, which is inviting. And then next week, we're going to go over exposing and the best tools and techniques to expose. And then the 3rd week, we're going to go through training, which is also team building and development. So today we're going to start with inviting, like I said. And I think, what's best for me is to always teach from experience, because I made the mistakes that everybody makes. I think that's important to realize, is that we all make mistakes. None of us, when we started in this business the very first time, came in with knowledge of the business, right? If we're doing it for the first time, this is something new for everybody. And I want to encourage you to remember that when you introduce this to somebody, they have not been trained, so they don't know what to do. And a lot of times we forget, okay, we've figured it out, we know what's working, and we just assume that people are going to come in and they're going to know what to do in the business and how to do the business. And what you need to understand is that that third component we're going to talk about in 2 weeks, which is training, actually starts with inviting, because what you do is what they do. So the way you make them feel is the exact same thing, the same processes, the same procedures that they're going to do with their people. And so what's important to understand is that when you go through these tips and techniques for inviting, you've got to make sure that they're answering 2 psychological questions. And so as we go through these things, I want you to remember these 2 questions. And these are the 2 questions that if you're exposing them and you're inviting them, they are asking themselves these 2 questions. And so if you can get them to answer both of these questions with a yes, they're going to sign up every time. If you can get them to answer one of these questions with a yes, they're going to sign up probably half the time. But if you can't get them to answer these 2 questions, either one of them with a yes, they're not going to join. They're not going to sign up. And so those 2 psychological questions are, can I do this? And will it work? Okay. And so can I do this is very important when it comes to inviting. Why? Because they're literally putting themselves in your shoes as you're doing what you're doing. So they literally start playing this over and over as you're going through the process of inviting and exposing and training. They're literally asking themselves these 2 questions. Can I do this and will it work? And so today we're going to talk at the end about 3-way calls and why it's important and why it's really part of inviting and this initial exposure, because you can use 3 ways a lot of different ways, but that's going to be our reinforcement and proving that it does work. Okay. So can I do this starts with inviting. And the reason it does is because when they're going through the process of being invited by you, they're already saying, could I do what he is doing to me right now? Could I do what she is doing to me right now? They're playing this through their head. This is part of the sales process. And this is why inviting is so important. And it's why it's got to be systematic. It's why it's got to be the same. It's why it has to be about duplication. It has to be about the process. It has to be about the system. Because if you depend on your own personal ability and you go, off the grid, and you go do your own thing, and you go do your own inviting, you go do your own exposing, you go do your own system. The problem is that if you're good at sales, you could probably sign people up and have some success. I've seen people come into my business over the years, and they've been phenomenal salespeople. And they don't, people that think that they know everything or that have really good sales skills, they don't want to be taught. They don't want to learn. They just want to kind of do their own thing. No, so you don't have to teach me that. Oh, I got it. You don't have to present for me, Wes. No, you don't need to do 3 ways for me. I got it. I got this. It's all about them. And what they don't realize is that is literally keeping them from having massive duplication, because what people are going to say when you're good at sales and you do it all on your own and you do the presenting and you do the inviting and you're the man or the woman and it's all about you, then your people, when it comes time to answer those 2 questions, they're going to say, I can't do what you do. I can't do what she does. And this is what I hear people say. Well, Wes, you're a sales guy. You've done this before. You can have success at this. You know how to do this. And so the problem is that if you go off the grid and you don't follow the program and it's not systematic and you try to do all the presenting and all the inviting, and it's all about you. The thing is that you will attract some salespeople, because some salespeople will go, I could do that. But the majority of people, if you want to get to the masses and you want to get real duplication, they will not believe that they can do what you're doing right now. So that very first question, can I do this? It starts with inviting, because how you invite, how you make them feel, if it feels weird or if it feels natural, if they feel comfortable, they're asking themselves in the closing process, in the sign-up process, can I do what was done to me? And that's why inviting is so important, because you were teaching, you were training from the very first exposure, from the very first contact about your business. So inviting is the first contact, inviting is the first exposure. And so they're playing this through their mind. A lot of times they're not going to tell you this. This is some of what I learned doing this for now, being in the direct sales industry almost 30 years. and network marketing for 20 years. And the reason is because psychologically they're processing this. And so a lot of times they'll give you an objection, or they won't call you back, they won't show up. Whatever happens in the process, it keeps people from joining. Oh, it's not for them. They never return my call, they never return my message, whatever. Well, what happened is you spooked them early in the process, right? Because they already said, I would never do that. I would never call my friend and do that. I would never talk to them that way. I would never ask them about that, and this is the very first exposure. And so that's why when you don't invite properly, you lose them before you even get to exposure. That's why inviting is so critical and so important. You could really, honestly, not be good at exposing, and you could be bad at training, and you're still going to be able to sign up a lot of people. Because if you're good at inviting, right, but you're not good at the other things, you will sign up a lot of personals. I've had people in my organization that have had hundreds of personals. There was a guy who I worked with for most of my career, and he was one of the top recruiters that I ever worked with. But the problem is he got absolutely no duplication. So let's say in the first couple years, he put in 200 or 300 people personally into his business. Guess how many people he had total in his business? 200 or 300. But in most companies, that will get you a few $100s a month. In our comp plan, you can be making a few $1,000s a month, maybe even 10,000, right? But that's where you're going to stop if you don't get good at exposing and training, right? So as long as you're good at inviting, you can make money in this business. But it's the key component, because if you're bad at inviting, you could be great at exposing. You could be great at training. You could be the best trainer ever, the best at duplication. But if you suck at inviting, if you can't invite properly, and if you're scaring people off during the invite process, and you're never getting them to the information to let them even see for themselves if they're interested or not, that's a problem. That's why inviting is so critical, because if you're bad at step one, you're very rarely going to get to step two or step three, if at all. And that's one of the reasons why you're going to see people that are going to come in, and this is what happens. If people don't invite properly, if they're not good at it, okay, they quit very quickly. Why? Because people quit when they fail. People quit whenever they have obstacles. People quit when they get discouraged. So if inviting is the first core competency, and that's the most important skill, and they suck at it, or they're not good at it, or they don't do it right, then literally they come in and they can't even get people to the information, right? And that's when you're going to have people that get involved and they quit very quickly because they can't even get people to the information. So they don't see how it's even possible to get to $500,000 a month, let alone, $5,000 a month. I mean, it's like, this isn't even possible. It's not even, you can't even do it, because they can't even see a path to be able to get those results, because they're not able to perform with core competency number one. Okay, so that's why inviting is so important. So now that we've focused on these two psychological questions, we're going to revisit them over the next 3 weeks, because these are the two questions. Can I do this, right? Which starts with inviting. And then will it work is proof of concept. So that's where you get to exposing, and then also third-party validation, edification, three-way calls. And so the first one, can I do this, is critical in the way that you invite. Why? Because like I said, if you do it weird, if you're out of the ordinary, if you're not normal, if you make them uncomfortable, all of those things are red flags for people, and they will immediately turn off, because they're going to say, I can't do this. So can I do this is critical. So let's talk about inviting 101. These are the kind of the foundational aspects of inviting. The first thing that people do, this is the biggest mistake that I see people make, is they try to invite people that they have influence over versus people that have influence over them. Okay, and this is why. Why? Because it's easier, because you're used to having influence over someone, and so getting them to do something you've done before. And so I want to remind everybody that if you can get people to do what they've done before, or have them feel like they've done it before, the more natural you can make it, the more successful you're going to be. Okay, so the reason why this happens normally is because you don't give them any instruction on who to invite. This is a mistake from us when we bring in a new person, because they tend to go for what I call the low-hanging fruit. Okay, so in this example, you sign up your friend that you grew up with. Y'all grew up in the same neighborhood. His name's Billy, and you sign up Billy. You're like, good luck, man. Go get them. Don't forget the Zooms are at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time, 9 p.m. Eastern. ZoomVIProom.com. That's your training. That's how you get them started. You get them signed up. You tell them when the Zooms are. Go get them. And so the biggest mistake people make is not telling them any of what I'm teaching you today, not teaching them how to invite, not telling them who to invite, not telling them why we invite, not going through any of what we're going to go through today. You just literally sign them up and then just, send them on their way and hope that they do it right. And so what happens is they go in their head and they process and they say, okay, look, I need to get some people on this Zoom. Who are some people that I can get off the couch? Who are some people that I can get motivated, that I have influence over, right? And the other thing that they think, which is a huge mistake, is they go, well, I'm not going to invite my Uncle Rick because Rick is wealthy and rich and, he's got a boat or, and he travels already. He doesn't need to save money. Or they'll say something like, oh, I'm not gonna talk to my old boss, Barbara, because she probably won't do one of these things. She's not gonna do residual income. She's never done network marketing before, and then they're like, oh, I'm not gonna go talk to my, to my old boss at my old job who owns like 10 restaurants, because he's busy running the restaurants and he's really successful. Why would he need to do something like this? Because what happens is people tend to put their values, their beliefs, their goals on other people. So when they see people that already have the things that they don't have, or the reasons why they joined, they tend to just associate that those people wouldn't even be interested, that those people wouldn't even look, that those people wouldn't even listen. But here's the problem. So what happens is, instead of recruiting up, these people recruit down. And so then they go talk to, their cousin, their cousin Bobby, or their friend Bobby that they grew up with in the neighborhood. And he like sleeps on the couch because he doesn't have a house. He doesn't have his own place. He's staying on the couch. He doesn't have a job. He's between jobs. He doesn't have a car. But it's like, man, I can get Bobby to do anything I want him to do. But he doesn't have anything to do. It's like, he needs to get on this Zoom. This could change his life. Like Bryte Lyfe could change his life, And so immediately they think, oh man, Bobby needs this opportunity. He needs it. He doesn't even have a place to live. But here's what happens. People don't realize that that's actually the opposite of the person that we're looking for, right? Because if Bobby doesn't even have a house, if Bobby doesn't even have a car, if Bobby doesn't even have a job, if Bobby doesn't even have a place to sleep, the last thing Bobby needs is a travel membership, right? And so what happens is the person who's new, they don't think that way. They think Bobby needs opportunity. And I'm not saying that Bobby couldn't sign up. Bobby could sign up, maybe borrow the money. And of course, there's been stories like this where somebody's gotten in and they had to sell a PlayStation or, sell something to sign up for the membership, and they've gone on to make thousands of dollars or millions of dollars. But those stories are so rare that's why you hear those stories, because that doesn't happen. That's not common. And so what happens is these new people, they come in and they immediately recruit down. They go to the people that they think need the opportunity. They go to the people that they think have nothing better to do. They go to the people that they think are not busy, have nothing to do, and that need it. But instead, you have to make people understand, we want people that are busy, that are entrepreneurial, that are successful, that are wealthy, that are connected. These are the people that wind up being the biggest performers and the best performers historically. Why? They've already been good at something else. They already have dedication. They already have work ethic. They already have relationships. They have connections. They literally pick up the phone and everybody answers. But what happens is new people, they're like, well, why would that person need a travel club membership? Or why would they need residual income? Here's the reality. Most people that are in those situations, the uber successful, the uber wealthy, most of them trade hours for dollars. They have no life. They don't see their family. They don't get a lot of flexibility. They don't get a lot of freedom. And those are the things that we can bring them. And I've seen it happen countless times where somebody who's been successful at some other area in life has come in and been a natural at this. Why? Because those are the skill sets that make someone a high achiever in no matter what they do. So we want people to get to their A team, not their F team. And look, I'm not saying that the F team can't sign up, but if you want somebody to have success out of the gates, right? Can I do this and will it work? If you're going to get them to duplicate and you're going to get things growing, they have to see that they can have success. Here's the other thing. When you go talk to somebody who's an uber successful business owner, like let's say that it was a former boss or a mentor of theirs, right? They may be intimidated to talk to that person, but here's what's going to happen. When you talk to somebody who's uber successful and they're a mentor and they're a business owner and they're an entrepreneur, they're not going to say to Billy when he comes in, when Billy invites the right way and gets his former boss to look at Bryte Lyfe, he's not going to go, this is a scam. This is a joke. This is one of those things. You'll never make money in this. Those things don't work. You know why? Because the people that say those things are uneducated, right? The people who are successful entrepreneurs and business owners and are educated, they know that direct sales is a place where it has a level playing field where people can make millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, residual income, life-changing income. People, you've heard it, most of you that have been in this industry before, Warren Buffett loves network marketing. He owns multiple network marketing companies. You could go on and on about the people who rave Warren Buffett's considered the greatest investor of all time, and he owns network marketing companies. So you're telling me that Billy, who's sleeping on the couch, who doesn't have a car, who doesn't have a house, who doesn't have a job, who tells you that this is a scam or it's not going to work, or they tell you that it's a joke or it's one of those things, and Warren Buffett, that you should listen to Billy and not Warren Buffett. And so the thing is if you get to your A team, those people are respectful. Those people are educated. They're hard workers. Those people are not going to rain on someone's parade. You know why? Because they didn't get to where they got to without the help of other mentors, without the help of other, teachers and people who helped them along the way. You won't hear people that are seen as self-made or self-taught. They're always going to come back and say, I'm thankful for this. I'm thankful for that. I'm an immigrant. I had this crazy story. I had to take care of my mom, my dad, whatever. Like, they talk about the things that happened to them along the way. So when people come to them with opportunities or businesses, they may not all sign up, but they're not going to tell them, oh, it's one of those things. Oh, it's a scam. It's this or that. Because educated people that are successful don't say those kind of things. And so you want somebody to be successful in this business, you need them out of the gates to invite up. We need to get to the A team, not the F team. We can get to them later. And here's the thing. Your person is going to get better as they grow in the business. So in the beginning, if they start with the people who are educated, entrepreneurial, driven, motivated, successful, financially sound, these are the people that we want to get first. And these are the ones that are going to give them the best feedback. When they get to the F team and they've already hit 2 or 3 ranks or 4 ranks, and they get to their cousin Billy and Billy tells them it's a scam, then they can hold up their check and they go, really? Is this a scam? Or how about these pictures of me in Tulum? Or how about these pictures of me on all these trips? How's it a scam, Billy? Because see, then they have the confidence, they have the proof, they have the results. But if they start with Billy out of the gates and Billy can't even, pay attention because he doesn't even have enough money to pay attention, then literally you're going to have people that are going to get their dreams killed. They're going to get their dreams shattered because they went to their F team instead of their A team out of the gate. So you got to tell them, we need to recruit up. We need to invite up, not down. So get to your 10 board of directors, get to your 10 investors, if you were starting, if you had a patent, if you had an invention that was going to change the world, who would be the first 10 people you would go talk to about being a partner, about being an investor, about being on your board of advisors or your board of directors? You're not going to call Billy. So literally I teach them that. I ask them that. I say, who are the 10 most successful people you know? Those people may not all join, but what will happen is you will get good feedback, and they will be polite, and they will be respectful, and they will give you educated feedback, and it won't be feedback from somebody who can't pay attention. So remember that. Here's the other thing that I want to tell you. If this is important enough for them to take 20 minutes out of their day and then potentially take time out of their schedule away from their kids, away from their families, to do this as a business and to partner with you. You're asking someone, okay, remember, as an invite, you potentially are asking someone to be a partner of yours, be a business partner. It's just like asking somebody to be an investor. You're asking them to invest in Bryte Lyfe's future, invest in your future. Because to partner with you and to give up time away from their friends and family, or away from, their job or their kids or whatever their activities are, maybe they do, sports or hobbies or whatever. Because here's the thing, you're not going to be successful in this business without giving up some time. All right, you're going to have to give up some time, because this does take work, right? It is network marketing, right? You do have to put in work. And so I still am blown away by the amount of people who think by just posting on social media, posting a meeting, posting a video, you think that that is a legitimate request or invite for someone to look at Bryte Lyfe or your business, right? Because, when you invite someone, you're actually asking them to give up that initial 20 minutes, but potentially much more than that. And so to me, if it's important enough for them to take 20 minutes out of their day and listen to the presentation, and then potentially give up more time than that by partnering with you and joining you in this opportunity, why do you think it's not worth an individual personal phone call, even if you're not a phone call person? I mean, I can't even tell you, probably on less than two hands, and I've recruited, 1,000 people into this industry. How many I've done? Well, first of all, I've done none with group messages, okay, and very few with text. Only probably when somebody's reached out and messaged me and I didn't even have a phone number for them. But if they're in my phone, if they're a contact, if they're a friend, a family member, a former boss, a coworker, somebody that I have a relationship with, I've got their phone number. Why is it not important enough to give them a quick phone call? I mean, you're asking them to give it 20 minutes, potentially more than that if they join you. And so why is it not important enough for a phone call? Well, people do not want to be herded. People do not want to be sheep. They do not want to be cattle. They do not want to be treated like animals. They don't want to be grouped or caught in a net like a bunch of fish, right? You need to make them feel valuable. You need to when you edify them, we're going to talk about some tips on actual invites in just a second. When you're edifying them, when you're talking to them, you're telling them why their opinion matters to you, why you're reaching out to them. This is important. You're not gonna, if you had this invention that could change the world, you're not gonna post on social media, hey, I came up with this really cool invention. Does anybody want to invest in it? Does anybody want to help me pay for it? Does anybody want to help me start a company? That's not how you're gonna do it. You would literally sit down. It's like, who do I want to be in business with? Who do I want to partner with? Who do I want to be on my board of directors? Who do I want to help me get this to the rest of the world, right? And so then you're going to tell them, you're going to explain it, why you call them, why you value their opinion, why they matter to you, why it's important that they join your organization. If you were building something that you had created yourself and you felt like it could change the world, that's the mentality that you need to have when you go into invites. The other thing you have to understand is you have to make it a minimum 5 invites to get just one person to show up at a minimum. It may be closer to 10. So the thing is a lot of times people are like, oh yeah, I made some invites. Oh really? How many? 2. Well, I wanted to get 2 people on the Zoom, so I made 2 invites. It doesn't work that way. You can't just assume that you're going to make 2 invites. They may have work, they may have kids, they may have baseball activities, they may have, date night, they may have church, they may have whatever, right? People have a lot of things going on. So you need to remember the 5-to-1 ratio. You want to get 2 people on the Zoom, you need to make a minimum of 10 calls. 5 calls for every 1 person to show up, right? And it might be slightly more than that. But if you start with that ratio, and if you want to get 1 person on the Zoom tomorrow night, you need to be prepared to invite 5 people to get 1. Okay. And this was something that in the beginning I didn't understand, because I just assumed if I wanted to get 1 person on the Zoom, like if I had this 1 person, like I'm going to get Charlie on the Zoom tomorrow night, chances are that's not happening, right? You can't just invite 1 person and expect that 1 person is going to get on the Zoom. So you need to be ready to make 5 times the number of calls and invites as the amount of people that you plan to get on the Zoom. Okay. Here's another tip. Keep it natural. Remember, if we go back to, can I do this? They're asking themselves, can I do what's being done to me right now? So the more natural you make the invite, the more comfortable it is. Talk like you normally would talk, speak like you would normally speak. Don't sound like a telemarketer. Don't sound like you're a salesperson. This is not a sales call. It's just an invite, right? An invite is just a request for their presence. That's it. You're not selling anything. You're not closing them on anything. You don't have to motivate them, get them excited, tease them, none of that. You're literally just asking them if they could show up at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. That's it. All right. So just keep it natural. There's a lot of people that give like specific scripts. I've never been a script person. Why? Because to me, if people can make it natural and comfortable, they're going to have more success. They're going to feel more comfortable doing it. People feel weird when they're doing something they've never done before. That's why it's important to go through all these things with your new people so that they don't feel weird, so that they don't feel uncomfortable. And most importantly, they don't invite that way, right? They don't make it weird. They don't make it seem odd. They don't sound like a telemarketer. You know, you don't need to give them a script. People are like, well, tell me what to say. Look, well, how would you talk to this person normally? If you were asking them to go to a movie, how would you ask them? If the movie was at 8 o'clock tomorrow night, how would you ask them to go to the movie? Hey, bro, you free tomorrow night at 8 o'clock? Yeah. Okay, cool. Let's go to the movie tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. Which movie? This movie. Okay, cool. Where are we going? Perfect. There we go. That's it. That's a normal invite. And the thing is that if you're going to talk to somebody that you respect and appreciate, I'm going to tell you in just a second how to edify them. But other than that, that's all you have to do. So if you're talking to a normal person that you would have a normal relationship with, that's where you're starting your invites. Make it seem natural. Make it seem normal. Okay. And then most importantly, don't prejudge. You know, this is when the prejudging starts. This is when people look at their lists. This is how people invite, right? And I've done this with so many new people. So everybody does this, right? I say, okay, let's get started inviting. Who's on your top 10 list? And then people will do this, right? They'll tell me some names, but then they'll do this. And I'm like, well, let's just find those names in the phone. But like people want to scroll. And then now the scrolling begins, the playing God starts, right? So it's like they go through their contacts and it's like, no, that person's not going to do it. That person's not going to do it. That person's not going to do it. Now, here's the thing. They're not saying this, but this is what they're doing in their head as they're inviting, right? And here's the thing. People think that what I'm doing right now by scrolling, oh, they're not going to do it. They'll do it. You know, I don't know. I think maybe they're on summer vacation. It's like literally excuse after excuse after excuse to not call somebody. So they're literally already prejudging. And then it's like, well, I finished my inviting. I'm like, you didn't invite anybody. Well, I was going to, but like, I was going to invite Cheryl, but Cheryl is out of town on vacation right now. So I'll invite her to the Zoom next Sunday because she's going to be out of town tomorrow for this 4th of July. They're still out of town. I'm like, okay, well, you didn't invite them. Well, yeah, but I'm going to invite them. I'm like, but you didn't invite them. So let's go to the D's, you know, let's get to David. Let's get to Daniel. Well, I don't know if like, you see what I'm saying? So literally, this is how the inviting starts. And then what happens is I'm done inviting, you know, because what they've done is they've prejudged who can come, who can't come, who's going to listen, who's not going to listen, who's going to join, who's not going to join. Literally, here's how you do it. Start at the A's, okay? Get to your A's and then literally just start. It's the best way to do it. Don't prejudge, okay? Once you get past the top 10 list, just start at the A's, right? I try to get the top 10 list first. Get the board of directors, get the board of advisors, get the 10 investors, get the 10 most successful people they know. Get through those first, find them in the phone, invite all 10, and then just start in the A's, right? Don't prejudge, just invite, okay? Now, let's go through the second level of tips for inviting, okay? Inviting is not selling. Inviting is not presenting. Inviting is not exposing. This is the biggest mistake that people make when it comes to the actual invite. They think by giving them teaser, by mentioning something about it, by saying travel, make money, residual income, they think that it's like teasing them to make them more interested. The best invites have the least information. Okay, say this to yourself. The best invites have the least amount of information. If they are, so the new people say this, well, Wes, they were asking me questions. They were asking me what it is. I go, that's good Because when people ask questions, it means they're interested, right? So you don't answer the questions with the information. You answer the question with, that's exactly why I need you there at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. If I could just tell it all to you right now, I would tell it all to you right now. I can't. I need you to see it. I want to get your opinion on it. I want to get feedback from you. If I could do it right now, right here in front of you, I would. So that's your out. You have an out. The other thing is you can say, I'm new. I'm new. I can't explain it to you. I don't know how to explain it. And literally what you're doing is you're reinforcing, can I do this? Because if you don't sell, if you don't explain, and you don't expose yourself when you're doing the invite, right? They can say, well, all he did was like say, meet me at 8 o'clock. I could do that. That's simple. That's easy. He didn't even do anything. He didn't even explain anything. All he did was put me on the Zoom with the guy who started the company. I could do that. So remember, inviting is a request for presence. That's it. Invite is only a request for presence. That is all it is, okay? Think about it like a movie, right? If you're inviting someone to a movie, guys, if you had this girl and you wanted, this was like your dream girl, and you were like, man, if I could just get, I mean, this is like my dream girl. I want her to go to the movies. And let's say you were inviting her to the movies, right? You're not going to call and say, hey, you know, so-and-so, hey, do you want to go to the movies with me tomorrow night? There's this brand new movie. It just came out. It's about this guy and this girl. They fall in love on this big ocean boat. And she's married and he's poor and he like, you know, isn't even supposed to be on the boat. And then they fall in love and then the boat sinks and then he dies. And then she tells the story later. It's so romantic. It's so amazing. Do you want to go with me tomorrow night? Ladies, okay, in the chat, okay, if a guy asked you to go to a movie by telling you everything that was in the movie, all right, how many of you would go on that date? And we'll see if there's a woman in here. Guys, pay attention, because if there's one, you should notice and pay attention, all right? If that was your best invite, okay, so already people are like, no, definitely not. Like you just blew it, right? This is your dream girl, and you're like, hey, come to the movie, and this is exactly what happens in the movie. An invite is not the movie. An invite is just asking them to come to the movie with you. And so people think, if I just tease them a little bit, if I give them a little bit of information, if I tell them it's travel, if I tell them it's money, if I tell them it's this, the thing is you don't tell them any of that, because literally one word associations, they've proven that the human brain literally has chemical reactions to words. One word, two words could literally cause a chemical reaction in someone's brain. There are words that elicit responses. So there is absolutely zero reason to risk, chance, confuse, disappoint by saying one or two words. You don't say anything. All you do is just literally invite them, ask them to show up. And if they start asking you questions, say, I'm new. If I could do it right now, I would. Just be there at 8 o'clock. If they're asking questions, that's good. If they're not asking questions, that's also probably a sign that you said too much, okay? So no presenting, no selling, okay? Only invite. The next thing is, the most important thing that I think you can do when you're inviting someone is even find out if they can go before you ask them what it is. Because then you know if there's even a chance that they could be there. So what I do when I call, if I'm asking somebody to be on the Zoom tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, this is what I say. I say, hey, Tim, listen, man, are you free tomorrow night at 8 o'clock p.m.? I don't know. Why? Well, I just need to know if you're free or not. So, I mean, if you are, cool. If you aren't, no worries. I'll hit you a different time. And Tim's like, yeah, well, I think I'm free at 8 o'clock tomorrow night. Okay, awesome. You sure though? Because I don't want to impose. I mean, if you got something going on, it's cool. We can get together another time. No, I think I can make it work. What is it? I'm like, well, here's what I need you to do. I'm going to give you a website, and I'm super excited about something, and I just want you to come look at it tomorrow night. I just want to get your feedback. I value your opinion. You're a sharp guy. You're successful in business. You're successful in life. I just want you to give me some feedback on this new thing that I saw. Okay, great. Cool. Awesome. Okay, 8 o'clock. Yeah, I'm going to send you the website. So you've got it, right? All you have to do is go in there and then we'll talk right after. It'll be like 15 minutes. And then right after, you and I will hop on the phone. And if you have any questions or whatever, I just want to get your feedback. Cool. Awesome. Okay, that's it. No travel, no money, no residual income, no I got in this thing, I signed up for this deal, you know, I got in, I'm on somebody's team. None of that, right? It's literally clear the date and just ask them to be there. That's it. That's all an invite is. The other thing you noticed in there, I said I edified them. So you matter to me. You mean a lot to me. Your opinion matters to me. You're successful. You're entrepreneurial. You're a smart guy, smart girl. You know, whatever. However, you're going to talk to them, edify them, make them feel good. Tell them how much it means to you. Tell them that their opinion matters to you. When you invite with that type of sincerity, and you're edifying, and you're making them feel good about themselves, and you're saying nice things, and you're complimenting them, nobody's going to get defensive. I've never, if somebody's invited the right way, I've never seen, no, you don't think so. No, I'm not smart. I'm not successful. Like, nobody gets defensive. It automatically just drops down any type of defense or any type of, you know, uncertainty or like uneasiness. It's comfortable. It's calm. It's, you know, polite. It's respectful. And then the other thing is that anytime I send a reminder, okay, I literally never ask them if they're coming. I don't see, that's another mistake a lot of people make. Are you coming? Right? I'm always assuming that they're coming. If they told me that they didn't have anything at 8, I cleared the date first. And then I invited them and they told me they were coming. Of course they're coming. Why wouldn't they be coming? So people will send texts. Hey, are you still coming tonight? Hey, are you still coming to the meeting? Hey, are you still getting on the Zoom? Right? Why would you say that? Because now you've literally given them an out. You don't say that. You assume that they are. So if you send a reminder, and I think it's okay, I'm going to show you in just a second. Look, I don't invite more than 24 hours out. Too many things can happen. Okay. But if I invite them 24 hours before, so if I do my invites today and it's for Zoom tomorrow night, I'm going to send them an alert, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour max before, and say, hey, I can't wait to see you at 8 o'clock on the Zoom. I didn't say, are you coming? Are you going to be there? Don't no-show me. Don't embarrass me. I didn't say any of those things. I literally said, can't wait to see you. See you at 8 o'clock. Right? Because you're assuming that they're there. And so if you give a reminder, it's always assuming that they're going to do exactly what they said. All right? Now, here's how you get everybody to show up. People are like, Wes, how can you make sure that everybody shows up? You know, you want to invite a lot of people. You want to grow fast. How can I make sure that everybody remembers, that everybody shows up? These are the tips to make sure that once you've gone through the process correctly, you get them to show up. The first thing is I edify them, like I edify everyone in a massive way. So when I invite, that is my rule number one. I am like, you know, I respect you. I value your opinion. Your opinion matters to me. You mean a lot to me. Our friendship matters to me. Our relationship matters. I'm literally edifying them as if I'm about to put them on a three-way. So if you think about edification, that's the same way I invite. Because then when I say, can you spare just 20 minutes? They're not going to go, man, he just said all these nice things about me, said how much I matter to him, said how much I mean to him, how much my opinion matters to him. How can I say, no, I can't give you 15 minutes, 20 minutes, right? So that's the most important thing is value, value, value. Value for them, value in the relationship, value in the friendship, value in everything that you value with them. If you focus on value, you're going to get them to show up, okay? Then here is really honestly my biggest tip. People want to say, Wes, how did you sign so many people up over the years? Really simple. I bribed them. I bribed them. Because over the years, let's say I've signed up 1,000 people in this industry myself, okay? I can tell you probably less than, I bet you it's less than 100 of those I did not buy some type of food or drink. Okay, so that meant if I signed up 1,000, these are just rough numbers, then 900 of them, I paid for a coffee, I paid for a drink, I paid for lunch, okay? I did it over a business luncheon, a dinner, because here's the thing. If I call and invite somebody, how many of you, just type a 7 in the chat, if you've ever invited someone to coffee, to drinks, or to dinner, or to any type of food. You've invited a friend, hey, meet me for lunch, meet me for coffee, meet me for drinks. Type a 7 in the chat if you've ever done that before. Okay, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7, 7. Okay, I mean, everybody's done this, right? We've all done this. And so here's the thing. You don't have to do something you've never done before. Remember, if they're saying, can I do this? This is one of the reasons why I love doing presentations over coffee, over lunch, over food, right? And here's the thing. People think, oh, well, Wes, you're doing a live Zoom. So how do you do that? I meet them at the restaurant at 7 o'clock or 7:30 so that I'm there whenever the Zoom starts, right? If you're not doing a live event yet, then make the Zooms live. Do Wednesday with Wes and do coffee or do lunch, right? And here's the other thing. You can meet them for coffee or lunch and then show them the video that I just recorded on Wednesday night. Okay, so use lunch, use dinner, use drinks, use coffee. Coffee is the cheapest, and I probably, of those 900, probably the majority of them, and I don't even drink coffee. Here's what's funny, and there's people on this Zoom that I've signed up this way. I invite people to Starbucks, right? Because everybody drinks coffee but me, and I invite them, I don't even drink anything. I invite them there, I'm like, hey, what do you want to drink? They're like, oh, I'll take a, cappuccino, espresso, whatever. I get it. They're like, well, where's your coffee? I don't drink coffee. I drink water. I don't drink coffee ever. Doesn't matter, right? This, to me, Starbucks is like my office because I'm getting them to come sit in front with me. And I know that if I'm buying them coffee, they're going to show up. So how can you guarantee that they're going to show up? I can literally count on one hand of the 1,000 people I've exposed this way, how many people have stood me up or no-showed. If you're meeting somebody for lunch or coffee or drinks, and it was like an emergency or something, and they were super apologetic. It's like, oh my gosh, I got stuck in traffic, got pulled over, whatever, something happened. That's been what's happened. Nobody just doesn't show up, right? If they just don't show up, go on to the next one, right? Because I'm just telling you, people that have respect and that are the right people, they're not going to no-show you. So if you want to make sure that they're there, do meetings over coffee, lunch, dinner, drinks. And like I said a second ago, I never invite more than 24 hours in advance. There's so many people that are like, oh, I need to give them advance notice. I need to tell them ahead of time. No, you don't. You just need to invite more people. If you're trying to get one person on the Zoom and you're only planning on making one call, then you call that person, it's like, oh, they already have plans. They're already doing something Sunday at 8. Okay, so what? Call 10 more people, right? The best invites happen within 24 hours. Last minute invites are the best. I can't tell you, I literally used to run Super Saturdays my entire career, and I would run the Super Saturdays from 10 to 2, okay, 10 to 2. And then I would give everybody a window right at the end of training, and we would do a contest to invite. And this would usually happen an hour, hour and a half before the training was over. And then I would run a 3 or 3:30 presentation. So it'd give people time to have a little bit of downtime between the training and the presentation, make some more calls. And literally, we would sign up hundreds of people, hundreds. They didn't even know that I was doing the presentation at 3:30. They would come to a Super Saturday that was 10 to 2. And at 1 o'clock or so around that time, I would tell them, hey, P.S., by the way, we're going to have a contest right now for who can get the most guests to a presentation today at 3:30. So this was literally 2.5 hours before it happened. Okay. And we would pack the building because everybody's excited. Everybody's motivated. Everybody's there. All their friends and their team is around. We would literally just blow up the phones. And then people would still be inviting when they got out of the training at 2 all the way up until 3:30. And those meetings would be huge, massive. We'd sign up hundreds of people. Last minute invitations are the best because if you text somebody or call somebody at 6 o'clock tomorrow night and you say, what are you doing at 8? They know. If you call them 5 days in advance and ask them, what are they doing Sunday night at 8? They don't even know what they're doing Sunday night at 8. Chances are they haven't even gotten to Friday yet. Okay. So last minute invitations are some of the best. That doesn't mean wait until 7:30 tomorrow to invite for 8, but you can always come behind your invitations and do more invites leading up to, but just don't do them more than 24 hours in advance. Why? because too many things can happen. Too many things can come up. They forget, they plan something, something happens, something unexpected happens. But the closer you get to the meeting, if they have the time available, the less likely it is that they're going to forget, the less likely it is that something's going to come up. And so make sure that you always include some last minute invites for every Zoom. Start at 6, start at 6:30, start at 7. You can make invites, texts, calls, leading right up. Literally, I'm still inviting sometimes right before I start and push play on the Morgan Wallen music. I'm still inviting. I'm inviting if it's, it's 10:57 right now. I'm still inviting if the call is in 3 minutes. Personally, why not? If they're free in 3 minutes, what a better time to get them on a presentation if they're sitting there doing nothing, watching Netflix or, sitting around. So if you can get them to respond, hey, what are you doing in 3 minutes? Hey, what are you doing in 16 minutes? Hey, what are you doing in 26 minutes? Text them that. If they respond nothing, call them, tell them, right? I think it's worth a personal phone call. But if not, at least send a message. Hey, meet me here in 16 minutes. Clear the date first and then do your invite. Don't spoil the ending. What's in it for them? I always try to add value, either by edification or telling something that would add value for them. Okay, so for example, I had this guy, I used to get my car washed. This guy had a mobile car wash in Dallas, my old company that I was building. And I was like, and I need to get this guy to the presentation. So he did a really good job washing all my cars. And he was like, hey, I was like, hey, our company, we have a lot of people that have this bonus where the company pays for their car. And he was like, oh, that's awesome. I'm like, hey, if you come on Thursday night, we meet every Thursday night in Plano. I can introduce you to like a dozen guys that they all get their cars paid for by the company. It's kind of like their business card. So why don't we meet there and I'll introduce you to all of them and you can see what we do and why the company pays for all these cars. Yeah, man, that's awesome. This was like 10 years ago. Okay. That guy wound up putting in like 3,000 people in my business. 3,000 people. He wound up selling his mobile car wash. All I did was add value for him. So if you know somebody who's a realtor, okay, if you know somebody who's a mortgage broker, you say, hey, man, I got a lot of people that are having a ton of success. I would love to introduce you to some of my new business partners. We're getting together. We're doing this lunch presentation. I would just love for you to meet them. And so we're all going to be in one place. I can introduce you. People that are business owners, entrepreneurs, they love to network. And this is another reason why you should be doing live meetings in your area. If you can get them around and get them introduced or use this as a networking opportunity for them and their business. Hey, I'll introduce you to the owner of the company. I'll introduce you to some of the top performers. I'll introduce you to some of the top marketers. Some of these people have done amazing things with ClickFunnels and Amazon stores and TikTok shops. So I'll introduce you to all of them. I'll put you in this community where you'll be surrounded by some of the best networkers, some of the best entrepreneurs that I'm in contact with. But I need to show you what we're doing. Okay. So try to do something to build value for them. Now, as we wrap up, I've got a few reminders that I want to talk to you about how the circle of free travel for life works in terms of inviting. Because remember, we talked last week, and I'm going to remind you before we end about active versus passive activities, okay? And so what you need to remind people is that it's very important to get people to engage immediately. This is part of the inviting process and why I wanted to talk about it today. And it's going to include parts of what we're going to talk about next week and the week after when it comes to training and when it comes to exposing. But the reason why it's important is because that first question, can I do this, can be shown to people through the inviting process. Let me explain what I'm saying. The first thing is joining, right? So if all of you have not upgraded your membership and become members, that's step number one. Everybody should be a member. You're not going to get people to join Bryte Lyfe and be a member if you don't have the membership yourself. That's step number one. Everybody should have the membership. The next thing is you need to use the membership, all right? Book something. If you can, book Tulum. There's still a couple rooms left. Trust me. I promise you that trip will pay for itself times 10. You go to Tulum, you're going to get tenfold what you spend on that trip in terms of social media, relationships, training content, physical fitness content from Corey. I'm just telling you what it's going to do for your life and your business. There isn't any better way to use the business right now. Use the membership, okay? But use it. Book something. So if you don't book Tulum or if Tulum sells out, make sure you go book something. Why? Because A, psychologically, you need to know you can do this and also talk to people about doing it. Remember, you're answering these questions. Can I do this? Will it work? The will it work starts to happen as you have success, as you get results. And we're going to get into more of that next week and the week after. But I want to talk to you about how this relates to our business. You've got to use it. Book something. Book a date night. Book a family getaway. Book a 2-night stay. Book a 1-night stay somewhere. You could book a hotel in the town you live in. Go book the biggest savings, right? The app shows you what is the biggest savings first. So log into the app, find the best savings in your hometown, do something on a Tuesday night or a Wednesday night or a Thursday night or a Friday night, do a date night for your spouse, book something, okay? And then you have the ability now to start sharing. Sharing becomes a way to invite, okay? But remember, posting on social media is passive. The way I'm talking about sharing is actually talking to people when you're exposing them and inviting them about the success or the results that you're already getting, okay? And so it's important that whenever you go to invite them, you don't tell them this when you're inviting. It becomes part of the invite as you're exposing them, okay? And after you expose them. But I want you to understand the entire cycle, the entire process, and how it all relates. Because a lot of times people think, oh, I'm inviting just because I booked a hotel. I booked a hotel, I posted on my Facebook, now I've invited everybody I'm friends with. I literally talked to somebody once in World Ventures, and I was like, you know, how many people did you invite to the presentation tonight? She was like, 580. And I was like, really? That's impressive. 580. She's like, yeah, I posted the invite that you told me right on my Facebook page, and I have 580 friends. I'm like, that is not an invite, okay? Inviting, all right, is a request for one's presence that you personally make to them. This has got to be a personal thing. And so you can share Bryte Lyfe, right, in a passive way, okay? We're going to talk about that. You can share it in a passive way, but the problem is that that is not an invite, okay? So when you see me talk about sharing Travel for Life and posting your results, it's all part of the process of, can I do this and will it work? But it's not the actual invite itself. It's putting information into the process, into the formula. So a lot of times people see that slide and they think, oh, well, I just have to book something and then post it on social media. Now I've invited everybody. That is not an invite, okay? I want to remind you, that is just part of the process of reinforcing, which we're going to continue to talk about over the next couple of weeks. That does not count as an invite. So for tomorrow night, if you posted something on social media, that is not an invite. You need to personally invite people. It's the only way it works. It's worth their time. If they're going to give up 20 minutes like we talked about, make sure you do that. Now, I want to remind you before we wrap up these two things we talked about last week, because it is part of invitations and obviously getting people third-party validation. So this is important that you understand, because I've been doing 3-ways with people this week, and people do not do this right, okay, just in general, all right? So it's very important that we talk about this and get this out to our team so that people are prepped, so that as we're inviting, as we're exposing, as we're doing these 3-way calls and these processes are happening, that everybody's on the same page, okay? So number one, you should always use third-party validation, all right? You don't have to use it in the very beginning of the invite, but you can use it after you expose them. Okay. And so some people, you may be intimidated to talk to certain people on your A list. Okay. So talk to your sponsor about doing a 3-way invite. Okay. So there is a way you can invite somebody using a 3-way before they actually get to the information. I only do this in rare cases where it's somebody that is a extreme A on someone's list and they don't feel confident enough to get them to the information properly without involving an expert or involving somebody in their upline or involving somebody on their team. So you can use a 3-way call as an invite. But remember, how you do it is how they're going to do it. So that means that if you use 3 ways to invite, now all of your new people are going to be calling you and thinking that they need you for 3 ways. So I try not to use 3 ways to invite unless I absolutely have to. It's much better to bring them in after exposure, which we're going to talk about next week. but to remember to do it on every invite, on every exposure. Every time somebody gets to see the information, I always use third-party validation. I always use three-way calls because I want to remove myself from the equation so that they can say, can I do this? What is the system? What is the support that is available for me so that I can be successful? Then they don't say, well, Wes, you're a salesperson. You can do this. Oh, Tim, you're a salesperson. You can do this. Oh, Bobby, you're a salesperson. You can do this. Oh, Lori, you're a salesperson. You can do this. We don't want people to look at us and confuse us with the message. And so this starts with inviting, right? Inviting properly, all right? We're going to talk about exposing next week, and then we're going to talk about training the following week. But it's an entire process where we're answering these two questions. Can I do this? And will it work? And so the other thing with a three-way call, when it happens, you have to edify both people. This is a common mistake people make in regards to three-way calls. They think that they just need to edify the expert. Or they think because they told the expert a couple of things about the person before they got them on the phone, they've already done it. The whole reason that you edify is to put people on a three-way call on an even playing field. So you edify them both. You edify the expert, you edify the prospect, you make them both sound good on the phone in what you call earshot, like range of hearing. You don't do it before the call starts and then go, hey, I've told you guys a lot about each other. You remember what I said. Here you go, guys. I'm just going to get out of the way. No, that's not how it works. You need to do the edification with both people on the phone. Even if you've already told me, even if you've already told them, it doesn't matter. While you're both on the phone, if you don't do it while you're both on the phone with the people, then what happens is they don't know what you told them, what they need to say. And so then it becomes like, well, do I need to tell them this? Do I need to tell them that? What is this? What is that? Plus, when you're doing a lot of these calls, you can't remember if they told you something about the person 20 minutes ago or 2 hours ago or 2 days ago. Remember, this is the guy I told you about, Wes, last week at the meeting. No, I don't remember. But if that's how you introduce me, that's how you edify me. Now I have no idea even who I'm talking to. Okay. And so you can use them to invite, right? We talked about that just a minute ago. You can use them to invite if you absolutely have to. But most importantly, I think the best way to use it is to answer that second question that we're going to spend a lot of time talking about next week, which is, will this work? Show me results. Give me proof. Okay. And so you can use it to invite, but I think it's best used to close, to wrap up the sale and get them started properly. Okay. The other thing you want to do if you're doing these three-way calls is don't just call somebody with somebody on the phone. That's a terrible thing to do to a leader or another person. Don't just call somebody when you get them on the phone. Give them at least a 5-minute or 10-minute or text heads up to let them know that you might be calling or that you need them and see if they're available. And the other thing is you don't want to spring somebody else the same way. It's like somebody calls you, it's like, and then you just like, hold on a second. And then all of a sudden you put them on the phone. You want to tell them, hey, I don't want to say anything wrong. I want you to hear from the expert. This guy knows everything. This girl knows everything. I want you to talk to him. And the thing is sometimes people get intimidated by that. You don't give them a choice, but you also don't want to just spring it on people. Okay. So these are just some things that you can do as we're going through the process. And a lot of you are using these calls. Some of you are using it to invite. Some of you are using it to expose. We'll talk more about exposures next week. And then, like I said, I just want to remind you, active versus passive activities, okay? Passive activities happen during non-business hours, like not during your prime inviting times. Like very bad to be posting or searching an hour before a Zoom. An hour before a Zoom, 2 hours before a Zoom, you should be locked and loaded on invites. You should be inviting up until literally I start the Morgan Wallen music. I'm literally doing that myself. And so all the things that I'm teaching you, all the things that I'm telling you, these are the things that I'm doing myself. I don't tell you to do anything that I wouldn't do myself, that I haven't done, that I don't already do. This is the only way I learn. It's the only way I teach. So when I'm telling you, I don't have any ulterior motive. This is what works. This is what's working. This is what's getting results. You can know. You don't have to go, I wonder if what Wes said really works. You don't ever have to ask yourself that. I'm only teaching you things that work, okay? So passive is posting, searching for trips, doing trip comparisons, doing price comparisons, making photos, making videos, even training your team or your new people. That can happen anytime, okay? Prime time, active activities, inviting, presenting, live events and Zooms, making calls or invites with the team, meeting the team, getting together, being belly to belly. I had a ton of success in the Northeast a couple weeks ago in New York and in Maine. And the reason why is because we got belly to belly. We worked together. We answered questions. We talked. We trained. We listened. You know, and we got on Zooms. We did presentations. We invited. We presented. We exposed. We focused on the 3 core competencies. All of those things were happening as active activities, okay? The other stuff that we're talking about that people think, oh, well, I posted on social media, like the girl who told me, yeah, Wes, I invited 584 people because I have 584 friends. First of all, people don't even read your posts, okay? And second of all, not all of your friends even see your posts. And third of all, nobody's gonna see an invite to a Zoom on a public post and come on a Zoom. Never gonna happen, okay? So you have to remember that your business is driven by you. Your activity and your activity alone. Do you want to be a creator, okay, or a facilitator? All right. You'll see when people start to have a little bit of success, they go into facilitate mode. They stop inviting, they stop presenting, they stop exposing, and they meet with their team. They talk to their team. They design team shirts and team logos and team websites and team this and team that. And now they're a facilitator. You want to be a creator. Activity, if there's no activity happening, it goes back to the creator. You want to be a creator or you want to be a facilitator? Active activity creates, okay? Passive activity is facilitates, okay? This is a massive difference that you can understand in this business, that if you go out and you make the calls, you make the invites, you expose, you train, you stay active in active recruiting activities, active income activities, not passive. You do passive in downtime. That does not work. That is not active activities. That is not income producing activities, okay? Keep these things in mind and make sure you get your teams to watch these recorded trainings and get them on next Saturday and the following Saturday. We're going to be focusing on these 3 core competencies. And so today was inviting, next week is exposing, the following week is training. We're going to go through all of our new member orientation and training in 2 weeks, talking about training, what to do with new people, how to get real duplication. You know, next week, we're going to talk about all the different ways to expose, the ways to do it, the ways to do live events, how to set up live events, you know, which events get the best results, the reasons why we need to do different types of exposures for different personalities and different types of people. So use these trainings to build your business, okay? Don't forget, invite up until the music starts on the Zoom. You could literally send out invites 5 minutes, 10 minutes before the Zoom. Those are the best ones. I can tell you so many examples of people that I've invited last minute. I've built almost completely with live events over my career, and I would literally, I'll be on the way, and I would get there early. So I'd be on the way to the event. It'd be like in an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours max. Those were my best invites. I would call, say, hey, are you doing anything for happy hour? Hey, come up here. And that's one of the reasons why I started doing stuff at bars and restaurants. I could just say, hey, come meet me for happy hour. Hey, come meet me for lunch. Are you doing anything for lunch? This is a normal, natural thing. And we're going to talk about that next week. And so thank you guys so much for tuning in today. We had a great training, great event, great turnout. Appreciate you. We're going to have an incredible Zoom tomorrow night. It's going to be awesome. You're going to see the new presentation if you haven't already seen it, and go see it. You can go watch it on the YouTube channel. It's the last video there. This will be posted as soon as it gets uploaded today. Thank you guys so much. Happy 4th of July week. Happy 4th of July weekend. Can't wait to see everybody tomorrow night. 7 o'clock corporate call, 8 o'clock Zoom. We've had our 2 biggest Zooms in company history the last 2 Sundays. Let's see if we can top it this Sunday and have the biggest we've ever had. Invite, invite, invite. Congrats to everybody who hit rank this week and earned residual income. Another successful commission run yesterday on Friday. We'll see you guys tomorrow.